We're talking about public school.
One moment.
All right.
So now you've asked me a question.
Sure.
I'm going to answer it.
Okay.
Well, who is the main character? What's the name of the main character in All Boys Are Blue?
You're asking me right now.
You just gave me very specific information about this book, so you're presenting yourself as somebody expert.
It's the gentleman.
Hold on. Who's the main character in the book?
The main character is the author.
What's his name?
George, I believe, is his first
Because
name.
you're giving me very specific information that is.
You're asking me to remember the name of an author.
You
the
just
name of the
remembered
author
very
doesn't
specific.
Joy.
Here's my
We're
question.
talking about
Here's my question.
You didn't answer my question.
No. I'm going to answer your
Great.
question.
I would love to hear that.
Absolutely. Well, I'm interviewing you, and you're not interviewing me. So let's just make sure it's a conversation. Okay.
Great.
So what I'm saying to you is that as you are not an expert in this book,
I don't have to be an expert.
No. Hold on a second.
Dildos aren't appropriate for public school. I mean, come on, let's get real.
Is a full context story, as you said, of the author's experience. Why is it your right, or a Moms for Liberty activist's right, to say that a parent who wants their child to have access to this book, which gives a personal experience of this author, why doesn't a liberal parent, for instance, or a parent of an LGBTQ kid, why don't they have a right for their child to just have access to this book? Why is it your right to say they can't? Creating a story behind a child that you don't know. Let me show you a form. This is a form that can be obtained in Broward County, Florida. Okay. I'm going to show it to the audience, and then I'm going to show it to you. This is called please, I'm going to hand it to you. It's called the opt-out form.
Okay.
An opt-out form would allow any parent, because you said you are in favor of parental rights.
I am.
It would allow any parent to opt out of their child being able to take books out of the library without their parents' permission.
Okay.
So that Moms for Liberty, why not advocate that every school in America have an opt-out form so that a parent who doesn't want their child to access a book like All Boys Are Blue,
right,
that they can make that choice? Because then each parent, including a liberal parent, a black parent, a parent who wants their child to read a book about African American history,
we want children to read books.
Why not just opt out for yourself rather than tell other parents what they can and cannot?
First of all, I think what you're talking about here is a wonderful step in the right direction. We should be having conversations about this. This is about local control. Mm-hmm. A lot of these decisions are made at the local school board level, mm-hmm, and that's where these decisions should be made. And there should be vibrant conversations about what's happening in our public schools and what kids have access to. Joy, however, maybe we could just put all the books with all the graphic sexual content. The dildos.
You're sorry.
I'm so sorry. Let's do a back room. Let's put a curtain up in the library like they used to do.
One moment.
Remember when we were little and you would go to the video store?
The books that Moms for Liberty. The books that Moms for Liberty.
With pornography.
I know that I've seen.
We could just do that.
I have seen tapes of what Moms for Liberty does, and you all go into school board meetings and you read graphic stuff.
Continuous conversation.
No, it's not.
America used to understand that there's something called age-appropriate content.
Right, and here's my question again. Again. Ruby Bridges Goes to School is on the list of books that Moms for Liberty has attempted to have removed.
Absolutely not.
It absolutely is. Let me ask about the people who are making the decision for their parents, because you have not answered yet why a liberal parent or an African-American parent.
We have parents who are Democrats who are members of our organization.
But you're still trying to make decisions for all the kids. Here are some of the parents that are filing, or some of your advocates. Mm-hmm. Bridget Ziegler, the Moms for Liberty co-founder, the wife of the recently ousted Florida Republican Party chairman, Christian Ziegler, who allegedly was involved in threesomes, same-sex threesomes. Mrs. Ziegler was removed from the school board at which she was a leader. You have Lauren DePaula. She was making book ban requests in Alachua County, but then records show that she and her husband didn't live there. They'd sold their home in that county. Carrie Blair in Tennessee, who was arrested for property theft charges after allegedly stealing from Target, skip scanning in Target. Why should those three people get to make decisions about what other children should be able to read? Other parents' children should be able to read.
Do you know that I served as a school board member from 2016 to 2020?
Are you going to answer my question?
Yeah, I'm going to.
Because we don't have an endless time.
Joy, I'm going to answer your question, but I need you to understand that when I was an elected representative, I would sit on that dais, and how dare I, sitting there as an elected representative, judge a parent when they would come to the podium to speak and advocate for their child? Because as we started this conversation, we'll end it. Every parent has a fundamental right to direct the upbringing of their children, and I would not stand in judgment, Joy, about a parent's education level, their sexual orientation, their race, their religion. That is not what America is about.
I'm going to answer. I'm going to ask my question, Mrs. Justice.
Thank you.
If a parent believes that their child should be able to read Ruby Bridges,
We believe that that children should be able to read.
Then
through
how
she's
can
an
Moms
American
for Liberty
hero.
insist that the school board take that book away and then say that a parent who wants the child to be able to read it must purchase it? That's essentially putting a tax on parents who want their children to read the book. Your kids get to have books for free that you agree with, but children who want to read, or parents who want their children to read books you don't like, have to purchase it. That doesn't sound fair.
Did you know that in the city that we're sitting in, only a quarter of children are reading on grade level?
That's a great point. That's a great point.
And so while we're having this conversation about books in libraries, two things should be happening.
That's a great point.
We should be talking about literacy rates and the fact that America's kids are not learning how to read, and we should be having vibrant conversations about what books should be in libraries.
Absolutely. We have the right to say, no, that book gets banned. Or if I'm a parent of an LGBTQ
But as a parent, you would have the right to have that book in your house.
But that's not what's happening. What you're seeing is groups like Moms for Liberty saying, no kid can have this book, ban it. They're not saying that
ban it from the school library is what they're saying, right? They're saying that they want to be able to control the access of that material.
Well, why should they control it and not me? I have kids.
But you can get that book at home if you want to have that book at home.
They get to decide what's in school. That means only some parents have rights.
I mean, you could make this. You could take this argument to the extreme and say, well, then everything should be available. Let them get on pornography sites on when they're learning. But I'm just saying, what you have to say is there is a line for this.
But it can't be one group that decides, right? You agree with that? That it can't be one ideology.
I think the parents in a community need to make these decisions.
That's not who's deciding. It's Moms for Liberty.
Well, listen, they have the influence in a school, and they should have the ability to go in and say,
parents like me
these things,
right?
Yeah, you can have that debate. Yeah. But my argument is, your beliefs and a parent belief in the school who happens to be different, you can come to a place where you don't have to have either one of those exposed to the kids. You can do it at home. And guess what? The best education you can get happens at home.
Parents don't have time. We can have that. I want to have you back to talk about this. But
and listen to Joy Reid comparing apples and oranges. Now, she says it's okay. She's speaking like it's okay for homosexuality to be taught to kids in the acts of being in a physical encounter with somebody, having, relations with someone of the same sex is okay for kids to have access to. But then she wants to bring up somebody's choice in their bedroom or who they want to be with and all that as an excuse for them not to have an opinion about these type of books being banned from schools. And Joy is on board with all this. She feels that it's okay that this is taught in the schools, and she's defending it. What does that make her? What is she about? What is really going on with these people? She is arguing about kids having access to explicit material in schools, showing the acts, showing the pictures of homosexual activity, and it's okay for these kids to have access to that. She wants that in the schools. Does she have kids? That is absolutely just crazy for her to feel like that. Joy Reid, stop it. Just stop it. Spoken by a woman who almost lost her job on MSNBC years ago for being accused of making anti-gay posts on X, formerly known as Twitter. It just goes to show you, depending on what a Democratic administration agenda is, these Democratic shills will jump right on in with pushing politicians' agendas, no matter how they truly feel about them. The woman that Joy is speaking to is from the Moms for Liberty, is absolutely correct when she states parents who don't agree with the push for books about Lbgt communities that are quite graphic in nature should not be allowed in schools. She's correct about that. None of this was even an issue prior to the Biden and Harris administration because I never heard about it. I only would hear about bullying kids who appeared to be from the Lbgt community, which is where the school district should have actually left it. I do believe that our kids in American school systems are being indoctrinated to participate in homosexuality, and its acts is mostly democratic and because the schools are making it okay for students as young as elementary school age students to obtain access through libraries on content showing images in language describing graphic imagery of how to perform certain acts in the Lbgt community, and when kids are violated, is absolutely insane. None of these kids should be focused or have images of things like that, because it's just basically taking their innocence away. You know, the kids are already been exposed to enough with all these different things that these, say, rap artists, you know, female rap artists, male rap artists and stuff are exposing them to. And I think a lot of stuff needs to be toned down. We need to have some type of morality. You know, you just can't just open the floodgates. Give these kids a chance. You know, I mean, it's one thing to teach them not to bully kids who are different, but it's another thing to try to teach them that, you know, liking somebody from the same sex is the way it needs to be moving forward. I mean, because you already see in the schools, they're putting gay pride flags in the schools and pretty much everywhere. And now I'm hearing situations where family members, friends and things, their kids are being approached for peer pressure to engage in homosexual, you know, encounters. You know, these kids are really coming on strong with this stuff. And I do believe, because now the governor of California, Gavin Newsom, have actually wrote into law that the schools can't tell the parents if they see that the students are transgender or non-conforming as, you know, in their gender. They can't go and tell the parents that, you know, about this. This is something that I guess the students have to tell the parents, which I think it would be kind of hard for the parents not to see this if they're coming home this way and they see it, or you just see them around the house and see their appearance changing, you know, why they wouldn't speak to their kids about it. But if they're changing once they leave the house, that's something altogether different. But it just goes back to, like, this current administration. What are they really trying to do? You know, there's just this bigger agenda with homosexuality being really pushed hard. You know, I mean, yes, I believe you shouldn't target people, but you have to respect that there are parents who are not for it, you know, who are not for their kids being taught about homosexuality to that extent, you know, and they have every right to feel that these books need to be banned in schools, that these books should not be, you know, put in school libraries for these kids to have access to. Because although Joy stated that, you know, the parents can sign a consent form as to whether or not they want their kids to take one of those books out of the library, they can sit in the library and pull one of those books off the shelves and read them. Most of those people in the libraries don't pay attention to what those students are reading when they're there. You know, you don't think a bunch of kids would get together and read those books and laugh and, you know, just, you know, that's something intriguing to them. So what do you think that's going to do? That is, that's indoctrination. That's almost like a grooming. You have to be careful with things like that. And I think that's why those things should be left for the parents to discuss with the kids. And I don't understand why in the world would Gavin Newsom sign a law that makes it illegal for the schools to tell the parents about this. They're giving kids more rights than the parents. And I think it's backwards, because kids don't really know what's best for them. You know, they change their minds 100 times before they become adults. They make silly decisions and they think about it when they get older. I shouldn't have done that, or this or that. You know, you have to be careful when you're giving kids who are young. Their minds are not even fully developed yet, so they don't really know. Because Gavin Newsom signed that law, it made Elon Musk take his SpaceX company from Hawthorne, California, and move it to Texas. And he stated that is the reason why he moved it, because he didn't like laws, you know, that were being taken away from families and other things, other legislations that was taking place in California. So he decided just get out of here. You know, he didn't want to know any more parts of it. Because Elon Musk wrote, because of this law and many others that preceded it, attacking both families and companies, SpaceX will now move its headquarters from Hawthorne, California to Starbase, Texas. And a supporter stated that, so the state is the parent in California now at Gavin Newsom. So he's just asking the question, like, so now, the state can basically, the government can basically parent the students now, because that can really turn into something crazy. Just like when they said the parents couldn't spank kids in the home. That's a whole nother situation. Then kids started calling police on their parents. This is like another, take on that. But it's just because you're into something and you have the power to indoctrinate people, speaking about the Biden and Harris administration, that people are going to partake in certain things. And I just don't think that it's really a good thing for parents to be cut out of the kids' parenting. They give kids rights in California where at 12 years old, you don't even have access to your child's medical records. You can possibly make appointments for them, but you don't have access to their medical records. So you don't know what's there and they're doing. They can elect and tell the doctor to give them some type of anything, and you won't know about it. You don't know what they can elect to have, to have a sex change operation, and you don't know what they're doing. What if the doctor doesn't know their medical history completely, and they do it? And this is why I'm saying it's very dangerous with them giving these kids rights over the parents, because they don't always make the best decisions. They're too young. And I believe the guy who was speaking to Joy is correct too. It's just like, if we're going to allow kids to have books like this in schools, then why not just let them have full range to everything? Why not? You have to have boundaries, and we have to let these kids be kids at some point. These kids are growing too fast, and it's taking their creativity away. We have to let these kids be kids. That's just too heavy and too much to be putting on kids. It's already bad enough with the peer pressure. But they want to put this on kids as young as elementary school age. And that's just a no-no. I am completely not for that at all. That is just way too young for kids to be even closely exposed to things like that. So you guys tell me what you think. Do you think that these books should be banned in school? And why do you feel this way? If you think that they should be put in schools, allowed to be there, then really tell me why you feel that way. And do you think moving forward, we should allow all of this, homosexual, exposure to be a part of our educational system? Or do you think we should leave that to the students' homes? The parents should be able to be told about that. And do you also think that the parents' rights are being taken away from them? So please subscribe to my channel and share with whomever you want to share it with. And please give me a thumbs up. And I want everyone to have a safe day. And please leave me a comment about it in the comment section. Thank you very much. Bye.